there guys, Mikey here, and welcome back to Star Week, the Comic Junkies Corner presentation that is all about Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars! And as I said at the end of my Last Jedi review last year, that Star Wars just wouldn't give us a lot to talk about in the franchise this year, and they prove that with Solo. So if you remember last June, Realcast co-host William and our resident Star Wars fanatic Trey gave their review of the film because I hadn't seen it yet. It was a very mixed reaction, both falling on either side of meh. Trey was a very high meh, and William was a very low meh. But I was determined to add my own meh to the party, so I could make a video on it and pad out this week so I wouldn't have to talk about the Star Wars Holiday Special. What? Now, this film has been plagued with production issues, none of which are a secret, from director changes to reshoots to acting coaches, etc. And I usually don't care about that kind of stuff, to be honest with you. But this film... Now, the reshoots weren't as poorly put together or as jarring as another film that I've slowly come to realize that I was way too easy on. Yep. I admit when I'm wrong. Don't worry, I'll be doing that again later on this week. But while Justice League was poorly put together, it at least had some form of a direction. I cannot, however, say that about Solo. So what made this movie so meh? Let's dive in and find out. The movie introduces us to Han right away. Unlike the Super Bowl trailer, he's basically part of this scavenger/thieves guild, and I thought that was pretty cool because you were immediately establishing that he's not necessarily a good guy. The problem is, well, right off the bat, the movie begins with what Star Wars fans have coined as prequelitis. Bad dialogue that is of no fault of the actors, it's just what they have to work with. And that pesky prequel humor. You know, that really annoying humor that happens when characters who shouldn't be dumb are dumb?
This is a thermal detonator that I just armed.
That's a rock.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. And you just made a clicking sound with your mouth.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you did?
No.
You did, just then.
No nonsense.
But anyway, it's revealed that he's been with this underground guild for some time. He's since fallen in love, and he uses this last heist he was sent on to double-cross the leader, Lady Proxima, and escape with his girlfriend. Things go sour, she gets captured, he's forced to run, but promises he will return for her. Bad dialogue and awkward comedy aside, this is kind of a semi-interesting setup. Nothing we haven't seen before in other movies, but at least it's a little something to spark a bit of interest. We get a few decent chase scenes in the opening act that I thought were cool. They were toned down just enough because, well, this is Star Wars. We know the real action is going to take place in space. Now, I have a serious problem with the way this act ends and the other act begins. Han is going to join the Empire to become a pilot.
I'm pilot.
It's very important to him. Like, you can make a drinking game out of how many times he says pilot in this movie. He's asked for his last name, which he doesn't have, or, as he puts it, I have no people. So he's just arbitrarily given the last name Solo. To which I just have to ask, why? Is there any significance to this being his last name? Is it ever brought up again? Is there any reason he could just have the last name to begin with? No. It's just a throwaway line. And if you're going for any kind of impact here, wouldn't it be better if he said his last name was Solo, just to give the audience that double meaning? Look, you might say I'm nitpicking, and maybe I am, but I don't know anyone who was asking how Han Solo got his name. This might get compared to how Anakin got the name Vader, and as clunky as that dialogue was, there was a reason for it to at least exist in that film. There's no reason for it to exist in Solo, so why waste time? And speaking of wasting time, the film skips ahead 3 years just to establish that Han was kicked out of the pilot program and is just another ground troop. So why are we skipping ahead 3 years? Han doesn't seem to have changed and his motivation is still to get back to his girlfriend, so why the passage of time? Is it to make his girlfriend a trained badass? Well, couldn't she have had those skills from the beginning? Again, it may seem like I'm nitpicking, but look, just stay with me here. I have a point. We are then introduced to this ragtag team of thieves working for the Sinister.
Drayden Vaughn.
Now, here is where I thought things would really get interesting. I mean, things started to pick up a little bit. The dialogue got better. It was a bit snappier. The pacing is better, and I was thinking like, oh, okay, I can hang with these guys for a bit. Or, not. You could just kill them in the heist. That's cool too. It's moments like this that I kind of wonder why some of these characters were introduced to us to begin with if they were really just there to die. We don't get attached to them because we don't spend any really grounded time with them. Was it to show the gravity of the heist or something? And if that was the case, then wouldn't just losing the payload and having to deal with the boss be enough? Heck, it doesn't even seem like they care that those characters died, so again, I ask,
why?
No, I forgot. We're introduced to Chewie in this act. He eats people. That's the thing. When Han tries to desert the Empire, he is tossed in a pit with Chewbacca, who is supposed to eat and kill him. Or kill and eat him. Some order of the sorts. But he does it because Han speaks Wookiee to him. I'd like to tell you there's another reason, him offering to free him or, get him money, but of all the people that Chewie has apparently eaten, wouldn't you think one of them would have offered them one of those things? And he understands English, so why is a lovable badass being turned into a ravenous monster, only to immediately negate it? Again, I ask, why? Except for one, most of the ragtag team is replaced with Solo's girlfriend, who randomly pops up again, and the most anticipated characters, Lando Calrissian and his sex bot. Because that's what we wanted? Come on, this is Lando, man. Lando could get any alien but in the universe that he wants. And he's played really well by Donald Glover. He manages to capture the cool essence of Billy D. Williams while still making the character his own. And it was awesome. I mean, movie, you were doing so well and you just...
And then you had to just go and ruin the ride.
Now, Fembot has been a point of contention. While some take it seriously and think it's stupid, some believe it to be a funny satire on today's culture. I believe it to be satire just based on the way the lines are delivered. It's clearly meant to be funny, but it may not have been the smartest thing to put in this movie. I mean, yeah, when it boils down to it, these equal rights movements have gotten a little bit out of hand, but that's because of the people out there who abuse it and use it to feed their own malicious agenda. Thus, they dampen the positive nature of the movement, turning it into a meme that people are taking less and less seriously. Is it a topic that should be brought to our attention and talked about? Yes. Does it belong in a Star Wars movie? Maybe. But here's the thing. With Solo, no one's paying attention to this. No one learns anything from it. No one even has any type of character growth in that department. In the Clone Wars, we see early on that the clones do not want to be expendable soldiers. They have feelings, personalities, they bleed like us. You're able to sympathize with these characters. It's the reason Order 66 was so damn heartbreaking. There's consequences, growth, payoff. There's none of that in Solo, so again, I ask, why? However, this does lead to the Kessel Run, and it is arguably the best thing in this movie. It's tense, it's action-packed, it's fun, the space chase is great, and it has some of the best Millennium Falcon piloting since, well, Rey in Episode 7. I feel like somebody saw that and decided to address that in this movie. They were just like, look, Rey's cool and all, but look, she can't just be out piloting the best pilot in the galaxy. And speaking of Han, this, in my opinion, is where the actor Alden channels his inner Han Solo. He is not more Solo in this Solo movie than he is Solo in this Solo scene. Are you confused? Well, it's not more confusing than a giant squid monster in the middle of space, which is how they chose to end that scene for some reason.
Yeah, it's okay, I guess. You kind of ruined it, though.
Anyway, they make the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs.
I hate you.
See, damn it, Han, where were you at the beginning of this movie? So Han and his girlfriend have an intimate moment and she calls him a good man, which he responds,
I'm a terrible person.
Bull, Mr. Handman.
And at this point, you think the movie should be over, but no. The Marauders return to corner our hero, our protagonist, people in this movie. And then we have one of the funniest jokes in the film.
You happen to notice that freighter down there? You know what's on it? About 30 hired guns. All I gotta do is give them the signal, you're surrounded.
Sorry. Do your thing.
Okay. Okay, I know it doesn't make sense that Lando just up and leaves like that, and you could probably argue maybe he caught wind of the danger, but I cracked up when I saw that. The movie needed a lot more well-executed humor like that. Anyway, the head marauder reveals herself and Oh my god, it's her.
What's up, Mikey?
Hey Dre, how's it going, man?
It's going. How about you?
Hey, same here, man. Hey, look, I can't stay too long because I'm in the middle of the review for Solo.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Anyway, do you remember that scene where the Marauder unmasks herself?
Yeah, I remember her.
Yeah. Who the hell is that?
Well, she was kind of a WTF bomb dropped on fans of the franchise. As far as everybody knows or remembers, Mon Mothma and the main rebels were kind of the founding members of the Rebel Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
But since kind of Rebels, the animated series kind of showed that there were different cells that made up what we know of as the Rebels, it kind of has opened the door for other people and other groups to kind of come in. Otherwise, I think this is something that's going to need another movie, maybe, or some other kind of in-between series for them to explain more out of.
Okay. All right, man. I got it now.
Later, man.
All right, thanks, man. I'll talk to you later. So they're in the movie. So Han decides to help these rebel juniors by betraying Drayden. But Drayden is on to them because Beckett and Kira betray Han. But then in a twist, Han actually betrays Beckett, who in turn betrays Drayden. And then Kira betrays Drayden to help Han, only to wind up betraying Han again by working directly for Darth Maul. I'm not even going to begin to try to break that down. It's not as confusing as it actually sounds, but the sheer number of double crosses is just silly. So, look, let's get to the summary. So, to say Solo was a disappointment for me would be a lie. I was never excited for this movie despite the one good-looking trailer, so the most this movie could really do was pleasantly surprise me. I didn't, however, expect the mess that we got, though. We got some good action scenes out of it. Some of the performances were really good. Some got better as the movie progressed. I say this movie has a really good potential to stand by itself, not relying on too much of the lore from other films. But the movie as a whole just comes across as a lot of unnecessary filler. Many unnecessary scenes, characters, and themes that go absolutely nowhere, which just leave the viewer asking, "Why?" millions of times. There's nothing really in this movie that couldn't have been answered in a 20 to 30 minute fan film. And the character progressions and growth really reflect that because there's just so little of it. This movie doesn't go anywhere because it seems to be more concerned with checking off the superficial exterior of Han and not exploring the character of Han. There's a whole lot of who, what, when, and where, but there's just a serious lack of why. There's a clip from The Matrix that I think wholeheartedly sums this movie up.
Causality. There is no escape from it. We are forever slaves to it. Our only hope, our only peace is to understand it, to understand the why. Why is what separates us from them, you from me. Why is the only real source of power. Without it, you are powerless. And this is how you come to me, without why, without power. Another link in the chain.
So anyway, that's my review of Solo, a Star Wars movie. Please feel free to share your review for the film down in the comment section below. Is there anything I missed or got wrong? Please feel free to post that down there too. I make mistakes, so help me learn.
Do it.
Thank you guys for tuning into today's episode of Star Week as presented by the Comic Junkie Corner on McBlam Entertainment, bringing a little bit of enjoyment to your day every day. And if you want in on the enjoyment, be sure to subscribe so that we can see you in the next video.